This is the honest truth about Superman. We've all seen the lies they've told us throughout the years about Superman's origin, his backstory, his intentions, that he fights for truth, justice, and the American way. But there is a darker truth, a real truth. Superman was sent to Earth, sent to America, illegally, by the Kryptonians. The Kryptonians are an evil and violent race that through means of their own caused the destruction of their own planet, Krypton, and instead of just disappearing into obscurity, they were so entitled that they felt like their race needed to survive. And while all were making plans to save the planet, to save their people, one of the lead scientists that was responsible for the destruction of Krypton, Jor-El, worked behind the scenes and in secret to only save his bloodline, the House of El. And with the help of his witch of a wife, he plotted to build a spaceship that would only fit one, his bastard kid, so his seed and his seed alone could survive the destruction of Krypton, of which he caused. So yes, the Kryptonians did have the technology available to possibly save more, but Jor-El didn't want that. He wanted only his seed, his bloodline to survive. But survival wasn't enough for Jor-El. No, he wanted his son to thrive. He wanted his son to be worshipped like a god. So he scoured the universe for a planet with a yellow sun. You see, Jor-El knew that the radiation from the yellow sun would give his child godlike abilities. And in searching, Jor-El found planet Earth, and he found that the people on planet Earth resembled the Kryptonians, but they were weak, they were frail, but more importantly, they were unadvanced and ignorant, easy to manipulate. And this was all perfect for him because he knew that once his son, who he named Kal-El, arrived and grew of age, he would be a god amongst men, and he would be worshipped. This was everything Jor-El wanted. So as Krypton was on the brink of destruction, Jor-El sent his bastard of a son, Kal-El, to planet Earth. But not just anywhere on planet Earth. You see, Jor-El still wanted his son to have a somewhat decent life. So he picked America. But not just anywhere in America. No, the people that found his son needed to be a little simple-minded. So Jor-El picked a small town in Kansas known as Smallville. You see, Jor-El knew that the people of Smallville were not just simple-minded, but they were conservative, and they had distrust for the federal government. They would never contact them if something happened in their own backyard. And just like Jor-El planned, one evening, a young couple known as Jonathan and Martha Kent were driving down the cornfield on their way back home to their farm, when all of a sudden, a spaceship crashes right next to them. And those idiots, Jonathan and Martha Kent, approached the spaceship and opened it and risked exposing not just Smallville, but the entire planet to what could have been a catastrophe. They didn't know if there was a deadly pathogen in that spaceship. And again, they were too simple-minded to understand or even care. No, the right thing to do would have been to call it in, to have the boys in yellow coats examine the spaceship to see if it was safe. But those idiots, Jonathan and Martha Kent, just picked up the little baby boy and took it in as their own, and even gave him a name, Clark Kent. And as little Clark Kent grew up, Jonathan and Martha Kent saw dollar bills. You see, Jonathan and Martha had a huge farm that required a lot of help, and they normally relied on the assistance of migrant workers, of which some were in the United States illegally. And Jonathan didn't really like using them. You see, he didn't really felt like they belonged here. So when he saw just how strong and capable little Clark Kent was, he saw this as an opportunity to stop using the migrant workers and instead start using his son, and it was free. Good old Jonathan and Martha Kent were bringing in the big bucks now. No longer did they have to pay wages. No, now they could just have little Clark go out there and work the field, and it only took him a matter of minutes. So when Clark Kent wanted to do bigger things, move out to the city, go to college, Jonathan and Martha Kent saw this as bad for business. It would bring ruin to their farm, so they selfishly lied to Clark. They told him that the world wasn't ready to see see his abilities, that it would be too dangerous for him to go out there. That if the government found out what he truly was, they would try and take him away. But of course, this was all a lie, just to keep Clark on the farm, just to keep him working. But eventually, Clark Kent saw a way to get away from the farm and try and fulfill his destiny of one day bringing back the Kryptonian race and rule as a god. But don't worry, because out there was a true hero ready to stop him. Subscribe for part 2.